Hello and welcome to Geek Fuel'd, this month's review of last month's featured Geek Fuel game. I'm TheBrokeGameGirl, and this month I'm reviewing Starward Rogue. As you might have guessed from the game title, Starward Rogue is a roguelike shooter in which you take on the role of a mech-suit Hydra spaceman. That's Hydra as in the multi-headed mythological beast, not as in Captain America. Your role is to rescue your robot sidekick Rodney from an expansive megalith by traversing 5 floors of traps, trash, creatures, and other horrors, which is not as easy as it sounds. The game starts you off with what would normally be a pretty dull and standard tutorial, but thanks to story element and well-voiced character Rodney,
the megalith, an exotic and sunny work environment. Your job is to get me out.
It becomes one of the highlights of the game design. The dialogue is delightfully sarcastic.
I'm paying your other heads handsomely for this, so you'd better do a good job before you die.
Which brings a sense of humor to teaching you the game mechanics. And the art style reminded me of the old top-scrolling arcade games that I used to play at our local mini-golf park when I was a kid, but with the crisp vector polish of a well-made Flash game. Some of the bosses and mini-boss battles also reminded me of classic arcade games and how the attacks were patterned. My one issue with the mini-bosses, though, was it wasn't always clear what was and wasn't a mini-boss. With bosses, it's clear as day. There's a big deal for them. The game builds anticipation. What will it be? Have I seen this one before? How am I going to die this time? It's like when you fight Bowser or Ganon. There's always a moment of calm before the battle. But for the mini-bosses, it's a split second of here's something different before it's upon you like a millennial on a unicorn frappuccino. It leaves you feeling underprepared, which is sometimes a goal of a game maker. But if that's the case, why the hoopla over the boss battles? More likely it was something that wasn't given the same attention to detail as, well, most other elements of this game. I mean, first off, I gotta give Starward Rogue some praise for being the first game I've reviewed on this show that has a cohesive story. And they did it by not overcomplicating things. Instead of trying to shove game elements together and figure out how to have it all make sense, Starward Rogue takes what it has and finds a story that would be compelling in any setting to fit the world that the game creates. They don't try to explain everything or rationalize elements, instead leaving those things for the players' imagination to theorize about, or maybe not question at all. Players are given a high-stakes rescue mission to focus on, and that's what drives the adventure into the great unknown that is a roguelike game. And Starward Rogue really does feel like a great unknown. Part of its charm is in making discoveries. You're given very little in the way of navigation, so getting around can be a little tricky. But if you get lost, there's usually a nifty little teleporter pad that will take you back to a safe room, like the one you started in. Or a shop. That's right, shops for weapons and armor and more weapons. This game has so many weapons. And they have stats, so if you like shooting a lot, there's a weapon for you. If you want a lot of damage, there's a weapon for you. It's like Oprah's giving out weapons in this game. You're allowed to have 3 weapons at a time. Your primary weapon, an energy weapon, and missiles. You can't switch out missiles, but there are so many options for primary weapons and energy weapons that having only one missile type is small beans. I had some slight control issues while playing with my keyboard. For the 6 movement keys to stay accessible, I had to keep my hand in kind of an awkward position. It got so uncomfortable that I ended up giving up on being able to slow my movement, and it ended up not being a big deal. For something that the designers bothered to introduce, it didn't seem necessary at any given point, at least not in any floors that the game generated for me. By all means, correct me if I'm wrong. I kind of wish that it was used more. It could have been a great way to build anticipation toward, I don't know, like a mini-boss or something. Just a thought. I also found the physics to be a little slippery, which made dodging attacks challenging. I feel like this could be something that the slowing mechanic might remedy, but it was just too uncomfortable for my tiny lady hands to manage without the threat of carpal tunnel. All in all, I found Starward Rogue to be a fairly entertaining game, and the feel of playing it took my imagination to a simpler time in my life. It had a story that I was invested in, design that was pleasing and fun, and gameplay that echoed some of my favorite arcade games. It wasn't something I expected from this modest roguelike, and the surprise brought a genuine smile to my face. For that, I'm giving Starward Rogue an 8.2 out of 10. Thanks for watching this month's Geek Fueled. If you enjoyed it, you might want to check out some of the other programming on this channel, and be sure to like the video. If you want to keep updated on new content, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to ring that notification bell. I'll see you for next month's Geek Fueled. Bye!